Apple's Macs with the M chips are awesome, but they also do come with a few problems. But how do you fix them in an easy way? It's what I'm going to tell you today. So let's get started. What do you do if your Mac is running slow? For this, you may want to check your activity monitor. Activity monitor is actually going to tell you which resource is being used by which app or which service and how much of it is being used. So to go to activity monitor, you can just use Spotlight search. So it will be command plus space, type in activity monitor. You can also go to launchpad alternatively, and here you can see we have all the process names on the left. In this case we are on CPU. You can also go to memory and it's going to tell you which service is using how much of the memory. So let's say an application is using too much of the resource. So if your Mac is slow, you may want to kill the resource. So in this case I have just selected Brave and I am just going to hit on stop over here, and it's going to force quit the application if I so wish. So here you can see it has now quit Brave application, and even on the dock you can see that Brave has closed. So you can do this with all the applications that are available on the Mac, and if you have any services running, you can take a look at them as well. Second thing to fix if your computer is slow is manage startup apps. To manage startup apps, you can go to settings. In settings, you want to go to general, and in general we have login items and extensions. So click on login items and extensions. So here you can see in my case nothing is there. So if I want an application to start as soon as I start my Mac, let's say I want Chrome, I'll hit open. So here you can see Chrome is actually available. But multiple apps over here is actually going to slow down your computer. Whether or not you go and turn on your application, it won't matter. It is still going to be running in the background and it's going to consume resources, making your Mac slow. So to remove it, you can just tap on the application and hit minus and it's gone. So it won't start up whenever you start up your Mac. If none of this works, you can also clear the cache. How do you clear cache in Mac? You can just press command plus shift plus G and it's going to take you to go. Or you can just go to Finder and hit go and go to folder. Over here you want to type in this path and hit enter, and here you can see we have all the cache files. So cache files are basically files that your application has created. So if you're using a specific function many times, it's going to actually create a cache file so that it's quicker. But over time you may not need the same file and it's actually going to slow down your computer and the application. So to delete it, we can just press command plus A so that we have copied it, and to delete it we can press command plus delete, but that is just going to put it back into trash. So to bypass trash, you can just press option command delete and it's actually going to delete it permanently. So let's click on delete, and here you can see it's actually deleting thousands of items that are unnecessary on your Mac. So here you can see cache is clear, and obviously it's immediately going to start create some cache files that are essential for your day-to-day tasks. What to do if your Wi-Fi is not connecting? The obvious one is, well, you can just turn off the Wi-Fi, and after a few seconds you can just turn it back on and it's going to connect and give you internet connection. If that does not fix it, you may want to forget your Wi-Fi and reconnect. In this case, you can just go to Wi-Fi settings. Here you can see I'm already on a Wi-Fi connection. I can just go to the three dots and click on forget this network, and then I can hit forget. If you're not an admin user, you may have to put in the user and password. Once you've done that, hit OK. And here you can see it has actually gone and forgotten the network. Let's go back and reconnect it. So again, I have connected to the network and this should solve the problem. That is one way. You can also have the diagnostics run on your Wi-Fi if that doesn't solve your problem. So you can just go to the Wi-Fi icon, press and hold option and click on the Wi-Fi icon. Here you can see we have an enlarged menu. And here you can see we have an option for open wireless diagnostics. So click on that. So you want to keep continuing. So it's going to run diagnostic tests and tell you if something is wrong and whether it can actually fix it. So in my case, nothing is wrong. So it says your Wi-Fi connection seems to be working as expected. So that is okay. What to do if your apps keep crashing? Well, I'll give you a few pointers on that as well. First things first, you can just force quit the application. So to force quit your application, you can just press option, command and escape. And here you can see we have force quit menu. So let's say Notes is an application that keeps on crashing. I can just hit force quit and then it's going to actually just stop working, right? So that could be one way. You could just force quit and then reopen the application. Another thing you can do is just update the application. If there's a problem, generally an update does solve it. If none of these things work, you may want to uninstall the application and then reinstall it. To reinstall, you can just go to the App Store, look for the application. So let's say I want WhatsApp. So I have searched up WhatsApp. I can uninstall it and reinstall it from here. What to do if your battery is draining fast though? First thing, you may want to check how your battery is being utilized and how much of it is being used by which application. So for that, you can just go to system settings, and here you can go to battery and you can monitor your battery. So here you can see battery level is quite okay. Battery health is also normal. So if it goes below a certain level, it's actually going to tell you whether the battery is on its way out. Second thing you want to do is check which application is running in the background currently. So we can just go to activity monitor. So again, we can just type an activity monitor in Spotlight, and here you can see it's popped up. In activity monitor, now you want to go to the energy tab. And in energy tab, you can also find which applications have been using power. So in the past 12 hours, Brave has used up about 41% of it, which is quite a lot. Chrome has been using about 27. So you can see all the history for the past 12 hours. So if something is running, you can just select it and hit stop. If nothing is wrong, you can also turn on low power mode. So for that, you can just go to system settings, go to battery again, and you can see we have low power mode up top. So in this case, it's on never. You can just go on battery, and low power mode is actually going to turn on every time you take off the charger. So again, you may want to have to put the admin password, and here you can see low power mode has turned on, so because the battery has gone yellow. Another thing is just a tip, you may want to reduce the screen brightness if it's too much, and turn off the Bluetooth if you don't use it as often. You can just go to the action center and turn off Bluetooth right over there. If your external drive is not being recognized, I have already made a video on this, but in short, you can just go to Finder, and in Finder settings, you want to make sure external disks is checked. If it's not checked, it's not actually going to show you any kind of external disks. Sometimes it's also a case of disk not being mounted. So in this case, you want to go to disk utility, and in disk utility, you on the left side, you should be able to see a external disk. If it's not mounted, you can just click it and hit mount. So where it says unmount over here, it will appear a mount option. But what if your Mac OS update is stuck? The easiest thing to do is try restarting it. You can just restart your Mac, and sometimes it's going to solve not just this issue but most issues. Then you also want to make sure whether you have enough storage. To check that, again, you can just go to disk utility, and here you can see how much of a storage is currently free. So you have used other volumes and free. So in this case, 41 GB is free. What if your Bluetooth is not working? So if your Bluetooth is not working, obviously try unpairing it and repairing it. So you can just go to your Bluetooth settings, and then you can select a device and say forget this device, and then you can add it back on. After that, an issue should be solved. If that is not working, you could also reset the Bluetooth module. For this, you will have to go to the terminal. So again, go to terminal over here. Now you want to type in sh, hit enter, and here you can see default interactive cell is now Zeesh. Now you want to type in sudo pkill Bluetooth. So you want to copy this command, which is going to be sudo pkill Bluetooth d. Hit enter. Now you'll have to put in the password. So you can see in my case, this user is not in the sudoers file. So you will have to go to the admin account and do it. But the process is going to be the same. Your Bluetooth module is just going to be reset. And the last thing, if your sound or microphone is not working. So for that, again, we'll go to settings. In settings, you want to scroll down to sound, and over here, you want to make sure in output, your Mac speakers are actually the ones that are selected. And similarly, in input, you also want to make sure your Mac Air microphone is selected, or in my case, a wireless microphone is selected, depending on which kind you're using. So sometimes if they are not selected, they won't be working. You also want to make sure you've given permissions, especially if your microphone isn't working for a specific app. So again, go to settings, and in settings, you want to scroll down to privacy and security. In privacy and security, scroll down to microphone over here and make sure that your application has access to microphone. So yeah, these were a few problems and solutions to those problems. Hopefully I've helped you out. If I have, please do make sure to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video.